Let's see. All right. What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast. And we've got one heck of a show for you. And I've been waiting to get this cat on the podcast. So we've been talking about it. We've been having the podcast for 3 years. And I guarantee you, every bit of the 3 years, we've been waiting to get this gentleman on. And but guys, if you don't know, I'm Colin Burnett.
Pappy J.
Man, before we get started and introducing this gentleman here, we got some business to take care of. But with that being said, tonight's sponsor is Firefly Outdoor Marines, the best navigational lights that you will ever put on your boat. It's got a lifetime warranty on these things. The best thing about these lights is that you can look straight into these lights and it will not give you any kind of eye blind. The second thing about this is you're out there, the summertime, you're fishing nighttime, and the bugs are just buzzing your head. What these lights do not attract kind of bugs. It is like you're fishing underneath a full moon. I've been out on the water and had my Firefly navigational lights on, and I've been able to count the rocks that are on the bank. And so these things are amazing. They do have a junior size that will fit for your John boats, your kayaks, and that from 3 foot extend up to 5.5 foot. And the regular ones are going to be from like 6 foot to I think it's 9 foot 3 inches. They have multiple colors, as you can see right here. Phenomenal lights, best lights you can get. They're made out of carbon fiber. You go 70 mile an hour down, all you're going to see is that nav light just kind of bow back, and but it's going to hang right in there, go underneath trees very well, and just pop straight back up. Guys, make sure you use the discount code DECKTALK10 and go grab you some Firefly navigational lights. All right. Now, here's the time that I've been waiting on. This guy is actually from my old stomping grounds when I was growing up, just knee high to a grasshopper. And I've enjoyed talking to him. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to fishing. I enjoy picking his brain. And if he doesn't know, he plays the part very well. But this gentleman here has one heck of a resume. And if you do not know him, you need to check out his social media, and we will post them in the description here coming up. But this guy just got off of fishing Kentucky Lake, and earlier here in March was made it to the Bassmaster Classic, the kayak division, and fished Lake Fork. We're going to talk about that, and what an experience. Guys, if you don't know, we have Ethan Jett here. What's up, brother?
What's happening?
We're just sitting here living the dream and trying to catch some brown fish and green fish.
Man, I hear you. How did you catch more brown fish than green fish on Kentucky Lake?
I did. I catch more brown than green, but only by 2.
Well, I can remember growing up, my grandfather had a camp just outside of Paris Landing, and we would go up there at least once a month and do some fishing, do some hunting, and we there was hardly ever any kind of smallmouth, but since, and which Ethan, they just kind of got it back under control with all the Asian carps and stuff like that. It destroyed that lake with them Asian carps. And so since then, the smallmouths have kind of taken over that lake. It has become more of a smallmouth fishery.
So I'll be honest. I never fished Kentucky Lake in its heyday before the Asian carp,
Uh-huh.
and I've always heard stories of you can go in the back of Yellow Creek and just see
Mhm.
these giant fish, schools of fish swimming around. And I just never experienced that. So when I started fishing Kentucky Lake, I was coming in at the tail end of the Asian carp invasion, and I actually like it. I know a lot of people that fished it before in its heyday, they absolutely hate it. But now you can go
Right.
and catch some big smallmouth, like you said, some big spots as well, and
Yeah.
a bunch of largemouth too. You catch a lot of largemouth in that 16, 17 inch range, and that just
Yeah.
kind of shows you that it's getting they're getting bigger.
They are getting that. They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I've talked to a couple other of my buddies that fish it more often. Well, I mean, it's not quite their home lake, but they fish it like it is their home lake. But and they said the exact same thing that each year the largemouth is getting better.
Yeah.
But them Asian carps, man, they killed that
Yeah.
whole fishery, and I was afraid that that it was going to get into come all the way up here to Chickamauga, all the Asian carps,
Yeah.
and that's the last thing that we need on
Oh yeah,
chicks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So, in my opinion, it wasn't just the Asian carp. It was also a lot of TWA going in there and killing all the grass, which didn't help. And that's
oh,
kind of
that's everywhere though.
that's the same
That's
thing with
everywhere.
chick. You know,
Yeah. Did now when you're in your kayak, um, how far, like when you put your kayak in, like how big is your range that you got to say, all right, I'm going to fish within 2 miles of where I'm at, or how big of a radius do you have? Um, because I know, I mean, you are confined to a radius than what we are in a bass boat.
yeah. So we don't have a 250 that we can just fire up and run 2 hours down the lake. Um, with my kayak and my setup, I have an NK 180 Pro or one NK 180, and it's a 1.8 horsepower electric trolling motor, if you will. And I can get 5 miles per hour, about 4.5 to 5, depending on wind and stuff. But
Right.
I have gone about 7 miles one direction and back, so about
Oh
a seven
wow.
mile radius. So you can go a lot further than what people think you can, and that's being real gentle
Yeah.
on that battery too. So we have lithium batteries. That's what most people use. They're half the size and half the
Yeah.
weight, and I have a 54 amp hour Dakota lithium. It's a 24 volt for that motor. And I've gotten 13 and a half miles. And that's going and coming back.
Now, do you run on your setup? Do you run a separate battery for your electronics?
Yes, I do. I have 3 batteries in total on the kayak. I got the big battery, and it's in the very back of my crate, my fishing crate. That's where I put all my rods. And then I got 2 batteries up front, and one runs a 93 SV. That's a 12 volt, 10 amp hour, and I got another 10 amp hour that runs my GoPros.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, and what was it? 2 weeks ago, we had Jerry Brusso on, and he was telling me that Roland is running his units off of a DeWalt or
Yeah.
Milwaukee drill battery. Have you heard anything like that?
I have a buddy that has one like that. It's a little, I guess, it's like an adapter that has the
Yeah.
two positive, negative terminals, and you just plug it right in. It's kind of nice because then you can go and tell exactly how much battery life you have left.
Right. And he was saying, like, if it goes dead, he said he carries
Yep.
like an extra battery or two. and he just swaps them out and just goes
Yeah.
right on his way.
Well, the crazy thing is he said he gets what he wants out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been very interesting to hear about these lithium batteries, just how long them things have been able to last out on the water and everything.
Well,
Because
the
he's
cool,
also run, like you said though, he was running his electronics, but he was also running what uh two wasn't it lithium batteries for each electronic?
Mm-mm. He was running. He had 2 lithium batteries, one for his front and one for his
Oh yeah, that's
for the
right.
console.
That's right. That's right.
So,
what was
but
the
I mean, he was getting. I mean, what was it? He was. I mean, it was crazy
Yeah,
hours of
yeah.
what he was getting. Like he was pretty much getting a full day's out of the batteries as long as I guess as long as he just wasn't overdoing it and had.
you know,
I think he only has. I think he's got 2 screens up front and then 2 at the console. But he
now
says that
what was the reasoning behind that in a boat? Like, was he wanting to save weight, or
I think he said something about that it was lighter,
you know?
and 2, and I think it was space.
Okay, because to me, I would think it'd be better to run just a regular lithium, like the full size battery, because then when you start your motor up, don't it charge everything throughout the day as well?
Well, how they're doing? No, I know what it was. He had one running his forward facing sonar, and then
Yeah, that's what it was.
and
That's
then
what.
the other
Yeah,
ones was
yeah,
running his console or
yeah,
running his units.
yeah. So he had one battery to the forward facing sonar only. So because he said he was getting better images
Yeah,
off of it by running like that.
just
Okay.
coming in clear.
Yeah, I mean,
I have heard a lot of the crappie guys using 24-volt batteries with whatever you call it, that drains it back down to 12-volt. You get a real clear
Right.
picture. But I've never heard of
I
people
mean,
using the DeWalt battery.
it's
yeah, I know,
yeah. I
right?
mean,
It was
that's
blowing my mind, man. I was just like, dang.
well. He had told me something about it, and when I got my forward facing sonar, I was like, all right, do I want to try it out? Because he's never steered me wrong. I know that. I mean, if he tells me that it works, I know it's going to work. And but I never did. I never jumped on it. But from what he was talking about, like that's what they do, and he's like Roland's the first one that he hooked it up like that for, and so it's like, well, if it's good enough for Roland, it's good enough for me.
I
So
might actually try it on my kayak because I don't have live scope yet, and I want to get live scope. And adding another battery to a kayak, you do take up a lot of space, and having that sounds like a good way to save space and weight.
yeah, and that was that. I think that was his main reason.
Yeah,
Was because usually like what they'll do is they'll put the lithium battery that you're putting in for your forward facing sonar, you're putting it you're not if you're using the DeWalt or Milwaukee battery, you're not having to get that onboard lithium battery charger.
Yeah.
So you're saving money there, and all you got to do is just take the battery if you're on the road, take it into your hotel room and just
Yeah.
plug it in and let it charge. But so you're saving there with not having to get that other charger, and then the weight on it, and then it's a lot smaller. So,
Well,
and then he was getting a better pick.
you go to a hardware store and you can buy 2 packs of batteries and a charger for $200. You can't
Yeah.
buy a big lithium battery for under probably 500 that could do the same. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
yeah.
and then you got to buy the charger.
yeah,
And so
exactly.
now, now like when you're, let's say like when you was at the classic or when you're at a tournament and stuff like that, how do you go about having to charge your batteries, or do you have to charge them during a tournament?
During a tournament, I don't. I can get all day use out of each battery. Um, I think I lied earlier. I have a 20 amp hour for my 93 SV. Now it'll get me 2 days worth of power.
Yeah.
Now it'll actually get me more than 2 days if you adjust the brightness down. It's amazing by how much the little adjustments
I
can
can
do
imagine.
and save. So the battery I have on top of it, it has a USB port, and you can click a button, and it actually tells you how many volts is in it. So you can sit there and really, like, as soon as you dial down that brightness, you'll gain like 2 volts or 2.5 volts. That
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy. So you can play around with that if you forgot to charge it the night before. But usually I just charge them every night during a tournament or during pre-fishing,
Yeah.
and for the most part, it lasts a while. It lasts all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how did you get into fishing?
So bass fishing, I live in Lewisburg, Tennessee. It's a very small rural town in Middle Tennessee, and everybody around here we fish. So my grandpa and my dad, they used to crappie fish, bluegill. They kind of went out and caught anything that would hit live bait, pretty much. And so
Right.
I've always been around fishing. They were really big in the rabbit hunting, and so I've always been around the outdoors lifestyle. And then all the way till I got to middle or high school, my freshman year of high school, I was in a engineering class, and I would just fish a little bit, just kind of crappie fishing, and I'd go like once a year. Well, when I was in middle school in high school, in engineering class, we got assigned seats, and I was sitting next to this dude. And before I met him, I was like, "Oh crap, he's a baseball guy." And they're always kind of preppy, and they think they're better than everybody. Well, I sat down, I look at his computer, and he's sitting there watch or looking at Tackle Warehouse. I was like, "Hey, you fish?" And he's like, "Yeah, I fish." And from then on, we hit it off, and he actually is the one that got me started in the kayak fishing. He worked at a
Really?
higher he worked at Higher Pursuits, which is a kayak rental place on the Duck River where I live. And he told me to come out there and rent a kayak, and that was the first time I ever took out a kayak. And after that, the rest is history. I fell in love and haven't got out of a kayak yet.
Now, you, I mean, well, you kind of hit on. You said your dad and grandpa does or did crappie fishing or any kind of live bait or whatever, anything that hit a live bait. But then you said rabbit fishing. But I seen something on what was it? YouTube, Instagram, one of your social medias where you went and done some turkey hunting,
Yeah.
and you finally got you a bird after a little bit of being out there in the field. Um, so did they put that, like the turkey hunting, like wanting to do the turkey hunting? Did that come from them as well?
Yes and no. When my dad was young, and they didn't have turkeys in Tennessee, and up until about the late '90s, he started seeing them. So that's something that I introduced my dad to. My grandpa, sadly, he passed away when I was 5. So the rabbit hunting was the only thing he and my dad did. And I'd go with them at a young age. I'd carry a little BB gun, and was it? So after that, my dad didn't really hunt because he didn't feel right going without him. And I started I think I was 16 was when I killed my first deer. And I was talking to one of my dad's best friends, and he was wanting me to go hunting, and I got the bug to go. And after that, I've convinced my dad to get back out, and now we go together a lot. And my
That's
dad,
good.
he doesn't fish like we do. He just
Yeah.
goes. He don't hardly fish at all now, but we do hunt a lot.
Yeah. Now, what got you? We know like how you kind of got into the kayak, but what got you to where you wanted to start doing the tournament fishing? I mean, because that is kind of a big jump into kind of getting into a kayak and then like, all right, I feel comfortable enough to where at least getting out there, maybe I can compete, feel like where I can compete, because you don't want to go out there and just look like a fool.
Yeah.
And so how did becoming a tournament angler working into your life as well?
So the kayak tournament scene, we're relatively still new. It's in the last 15 years, we've kind of gone from nothing, and it's a
All
big
right.
thing nowadays. So the reason why I wanted to start kayak tournament fishing is you go and read all this stuff about the boat world, about the legends like Roland Martin and um, Jimmy Hughes,
KVD and yeah,
ABD, and they were the trailblazers of the boat world. And I saw that the kayaking game was still kind of new, and I might have, like I told myself, being that at the age that I am, I might could be somebody that is a trailblazer in the kayaking world. And I saw that opportunity, and I was young enough to make mistakes. I still am. So I'm just trying to be a inspiration to younger anglers to get out
yeah.
there. Kayak fishing is a lot less expensive than a boat world, and so
A lot.
it's
Yeah,
open to a lot more people. So
yeah.
that's
So
kind of
did I know like COVID when it happened, like fishing just blew up.
yeah.
Did you see from the kayak world? Did it did that help grow the kayak world? Was I mean, it kind of sucked, for what it was, but I mean, the fishing industry blew up because of that.
Was it the amount that it helped the fishing, the boat side, and just the fishing? It probably doubled the kayaking side. COVID was
Wow.
wonders for all the kayaking community because we were getting everybody was getting that $800 a week subsidy check, and you could save 2 weeks and go and buy you a kayak. You can't do that with a boat. So
No,
No.
I
everybody was,
wish I could stay 2 weeks and go buy a boat.
yeah. So it really exploded the kayaking world. Like Hobie, for example, that's the company, that's the or the kayak I use. It's a pro angler. They were 3 months behind during COVID building boats, and it was just getting worse. And really, just now in the last year, they have kind of all the kayak companies have kind of caught up with them, and it's slowly
Right.
going down now. But
Yeah. Now, what got you to go with Hobie instead of like Bonafide or Old Town or something like that?
so when I first started kayak fishing, Hobie has a thing called the Hobie Worlds, and I don't really know what the equivalent to in the boat world that what that tournament would be, but you have to qualify, and there's only 8 people that go, and you go all the way. You can go to any country. Like they'll have each year, it's different countries, and you go and you compete again. It's like the Olympics of kayak fishing. I guess that's what it would be called.
Right.
Each team, you'd have Team USA, Team Canada, Mexico, and they all would go to these different countries and they would compete in the Hobie Worlds. Well, I saw that when I was growing up, and that's been a dream of mine to go to. And was it the Hobie Pro Angler has always been the Cadillac of kayaks, and I've
Yeah.
always wanted one, and I finally had the opportunity to buy one, and I've never looked back. It's the best, in my opinion, the best fishing kayak on the market. It's got the storage of a boat. It's got the movability, the kick up of the fins. It's a fin drive instead of like a typical propeller.
Right.
And where I fish a lot of Gunnersville, a lot of grass, and it just slithers through that grass. It's like the designer of it actually took inspiration from a penguin. He watched the
Really?
penguin fin, you know. So that's how it works. It's just a straight fin, and then if you watch it, it does like this when it's kicking, and it's moving, and it's really efficient. It's really easy on the knees, and so the Hobie is just they're an engineering company. They'll release a model, and then the next year they'll make little tweaks to make it to improve it, and that's just one reason why I wanted to go with the Hobie.
Man, that is interesting.
It just blows my mind.
And you're talking to two guys. We've been in kayaks and fished,
Yeah.
but we haven't been in anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, usually we want that motor back behind us that's going to be pushing us going down the river. But it's just amazing. I mean, because I know past 4 or 5 years, I mean, you do not go out and not see a couple dozen kayaks out on, especially on Chick. And so, how does the kayaks handle like in current situations? Like if you got like, let's say even on Gunnersville or on Chick, where or even on a Tennessee River body of water, to where it is mainly current driven. Does the kayaks like hold pretty well, like where you need to be and keep you in position to where you can make that cast that you're needing to make?
Yeah, it really depends on your setup. Like I have the NK 180 on the back, but I actually have foot controlled steering where I can sit there, I can put the motor on like 10%, and I'll use my feet to steer it, and I'll have both hands ready to cast. So if I'm in like real hard current, I'll do like that. But with the Hobie, the 360 drive that I have, I wish I had it with me because it'll blow your mind. The drive itself, when you put it in the drive, you got a handle to your left, and that drive will rotate 360 degrees. So you say like the wind's coming, like you're facing this way, the wind's coming like this. You can rotate that drive. It's all backwards on my screen. You can rotate that drive and you can kick and keep your position. So it's amazing. Like a lot of people love the 360 when you're fishing live scope because you can keep that transducer pointed in that direction you want. You can move around.
Yeah, and that's I mean, because that's important to be able to keep that forward facing sonar on your target that you're wanting to throw at.
Yeah. And then another setup that a lot of people have, we'll run the Motor Guide the Motor Guide XI3, and they have spot lock. So you'll see a lot of kayaks with spot lock, and they'll just sit there in one spot.
Man,
I can see where that would really be an advantage right there. The spot lock.
Definitely on windy conditions.
Do what?
Definitely on windy conditions, that spot lock is just awesome.
Yeah. What has been, I mean, because you've been able to travel around and do a lot of fishing on different lakes. What has been your favorite lake that you have been able to fish on?
It's got to be Gunnersville. I love that lake. I'm actually the 2023 Tennessee State Bass Nation State Champion, and I won it on Gunnersville.
Oh, wow.
It's my favorite
lake. It's not even in Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't know why the Tennessee State Championship was in Alabama.
But I will let you know if you don't know. But now, even for kayaks this year, if you have a motor, electric or gas, you have got to get, if you go to an Alabama fishery, you have got to get the boater safety.
Yeah.
And so, just so you know, and I know some of the guys that are watching it are young enough anyways that even for Tennessee, they've got to have it anyways. But
that's how I got mine because I needed it.
Yeah. So make sure you have it with you, or it's the first one's $25, and then the next one I think I heard was like $600. So
Oh wow.
What's a big jump?
yeah, the first one's just a little slap on the wrist. So
Yeah, I made sure with all the tournaments you fish, you got to be up to date on all your license and you got to be
yeah,
legal. And so I already had mine. I did it through the Tennessee TWRA, the whatever their boat safety course, and it flows over to Alabama as well.
yeah, and I think I mean they're not picky on what state that you do it in,
No.
as long as you have it. I think is what, from what I've been reading and what I've been told. Um, so what? So on Gunnersville, are you throwing a frog?
Yep. So I can't really give much information, but we're working on a prototype bait with one of my companies I work with, and then I usually use a frog or a toad a lot. And then on Gunnersville, I don't talk about it too much, but I'll let the cat out of the bag here since I've always wanted to be on your podcast. But a popper is my go-to. I won the state championship on a popper, pretty much.
Yeah, like a popper.
Yeah, yeah. So the one I use is actually the Mega Bass. It's the
Okay.
I can't remember the exact name, but it's the Mega Bass. I had it custom painted by a company here in Middle Tennessee, Fish at Middle Tennessee, and it's a blue color. And I had custom. He does custom treble hooks, like feather trebled hooks. And if you ever look on any of the Tennessee River, if you look at the bluegill, what color is their tail? At the very back of their tail.
It's usually like a blackish, isn't it?
Everyone I've seen has always been about that much of chartreuse right on their back of their tail, like very back tail.
Ah.
Yep. So I got that little treble hook is chartreuse, like a feather, and I don't know if that's the reason why, but I've caught some giants.
Hey, don't give out too many of the secrets. I give out some, but don't give out the top secrets.
Well, I don't talk about it too much, but that's my thanks for y'all letting me be on the podcast.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. And have you fished a tournament or been able to kayak fish in Florida?
Yep, I have actually. I've been in the Harris chain down there in around Orlando, the Villages, if you know where that's at, and that's a fun place. Some big fish. We went in February, so the fishing was kind of spotty. It was kind of like that pre-spawn, kind of funky transition time, but it was fun. It was some big fish, some even bigger alligators.
I was about to say that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
It's like I've fished in Florida many times, but being from Tennessee and going down there, and I've never fished it in a kayak. But I have fished it in boats and have had you're good. And had them gators, 9, 10, 12-foot gators just swim up right next to us. And I mean, they'll put their nose right on the gunnel. And I'm like, this Tennessee boy, that puts you pucker up a little bit when them things are coming around.
I've never had an issue with the kayak. And I don't know if that's because they think it's another gator. Because, if you look at the water, it has a alligator-esque profile to it. So they might think it's just a giant alligator and they don't want any of it. I didn't have a run-in, but Christine Fisher at Eufaula, she had a very close run-in with a giant alligator. But we were down there in March, which is their breeding time. I think they might have thought that she.
There's a female gator.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a video. There's a video somewhere on Facebook, YouTube, of her putting her motor on full blast, running out of this creek with this gator coming up behind her, and it was big. It was the size of like my kayak's 14 foot. Hers is too, and it was the same size as the kayak.
No.
Yeah, but anytime I am fishing, most of the time, anytime I'm fishing, really, I always have my pistol with me, just for that instance.
Oh yeah. I know. I went fishing not too long ago, Ethan, with somebody. I'm not going to say any names, but we were going. We were in the back of this little slough, and there was a cottonmouth that was stretched out on the road. It was 4.5, 5 foot cottonmouth. It was a big cottonmouth. And I guarantee you it was every bit about that big. But you ask somebody else and they'll say how long was that?
Is there a bit 20 foot? I mean, I was running truck mode and I said, we're done here. We're moving on over here somewhere.
We didn't even, and the best spot in the back of that little slough, we totally missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was tying up and I said, here, hop on the, and there was a car that came and stopped and hollered at us. And as soon as he seen that cottonmouth, he just turned that trolling motor and just booked it. It was not even anywhere close to us. He's like, that's close enough.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of snakes as long as I know they're there. Like if I can
that's
see
how
them,
I am.
I'll be okay.
If they startle me, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a little funny, a little inside of my life is I am absolutely terrified of frogs. Hate them. Frog.
The frog.
I hate them. And it's a past childhood trauma. I was probably like 2 years old, and my grandmother was putting me in this float at my aunt's pool, big old toad sitting on it. And she was putting me down. I was screaming my head off, and she just kept putting me down. And from then on, I've been terrified. But actually, at Harris Chain, I had a big old frog get in the kayak, and I about jumped in the water. I got a TikTok video. And it's my biggest viewed video on TikTok. And it's where I'm sitting there fishing. And I look down, and it's on my net. I was like, oh!
That's funny. That is funny. Now,
a lot of people make fun of me on that one.
We won't make fun of you. We'll laugh with you, but we won't make fun of you. And now I know you do a lot with Torn Outdoors.
Yeah.
What is your favorite bait from Torn Outdoors?
Whew. That's a tough one because it's probably the timber crawl. I love the timber crawl, and it's not for just a bait. I love fishing a jig, and that timber crawl is one of the best jig trailers ever. Now, I can't give any information, but we are fixing to come out with something that's even going to be even better. So be on the lookout for that. Then it's my favorite bait because it's me and John's been working on it a lot, very closely with me. I can't give any information, but just be on the lookout for that. It should come out.
Yeah. Well, we expect to see some pictures and stuff when you be able to get some in your hands and stuff.
Yeah, I've already caught some big ones on it. So, and it's the reason why I love Torn Outdoors so much, and Don goes really in depth on designing a lure, designing a bait that can be used for several different techniques.
Yeah.
And going back to the battery conversation, in a kayak, we're very limited to space. So I can grab a pack of the Threshers, and I can use and that's the swim bait, Thresher 4.2. I can use that as a swim bait, I can go and tear that paddle off and use it as a chatterbait trailer.
Yeah.
And then I can also use it as a scrounger head. So I can have one pack of the thresher and use it for 3 different things.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
the new what are they called? Stone roller. I can use it as a chatterbait trailer. It's one of the best chatterbait trailers I've ever used. That action behind it, it's so pretty. You can use it as a scrounger head as well, and you can use it as that strolling technique that it was actually designed for. Um,
Yeah.
and we've actually me and John's been playing around with it on a wobble head, like a
Really?
real finesse wobble head. Because they'll sit there and it'll just sit on the wobble head. That bait will just sit there and do that on the bottom. Give it a little flicks,
Oh, that's nice.
you know. So that's one reason I love their baits is the functionality.
Yeah. Now, have you seen? I'm trying to think. I want to say it's Rapala that's come out with a new swim bait that has that little fin that comes off the back, like how the Thresher does. You know
Yes,
how it has
yeah.
that little. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. I don't know what it's called, but I have seen it. It looks kind of like a 2 feet.
No, it looks just like the Thresher. I mean, to
Okay.
the T.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Huh.
when I seen it, I was like, I wonder. I mean, because John goes to a lot of shows,
Yeah.
and with Torrent, and I was like, I wonder if they seen that, and or just seen videos or seen one of y'all guys that's one of the pros throwing it and catching fish, and I mean, it literally has, because you know how like on the Thresher it has, like you got
Yeah.
the oh shoot, like the boot tail, and then
Yeah.
it has that little point that comes out of the backside of it.
Yeah.
It
I'll
has
show
it.
you.
I want to say it's Rapala. It's one of the big name companies that has it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Rapala, or either that or Strike King.
It may, yeah, yeah.
The new Strike King lineup. I think they have one of those. I'm trying to find a picture of the Thresher to show everybody. Um, will load. And there's the Thresher.
Oh yeah.
You see that little tail, like
Yeah.
how that?
Yeah.
Um,
So they got the
and
Thresher 4.2 and a 6.5.
yeah, but you can take that boot tail,
Mm-hmm.
it will rip off, right? So it can be, oh shoot, what is it? Hog farmers
Spunk shad. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll swim similar to the spunk shad, and so, or you can take that little tip off and just have the regular boot like a regular swim bait. He does that. I mean, you hit the nail on the head when he says you can do multiple things with those baits to be able to use them for different applications.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. It's very weight safe. It's very space saving baits, and
Yeah. So let's see. What I want to kind of go back to your kayak. Can you kind of tell us like your setup for the kayak, and I think you're gonna show a video, right?
yeah.
So guys, this is his kayak and he's got a video that he's going to share from his YouTube real quick. That's going to show, kind of do a little walk around with it.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Putting down the volume. So there is as you look right here, that is the kayak crate.
Yeah, and that's where your battery is, right?
Yeah, if you look on the very back, you'll see that Anderson plug. and it'll go through that
Yeah.
little hole. And so that's where I put all my rods. I can carry 12 rods standing up, and it's just an awesome setup. I can carry with that kayak. You actually have 6 rod tubes inside the kayak, so I can carry almost close to 18 rods with me.
18 rods.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
you know,
Now,
it is.
how hard is it to, like, let's say you want to reach that bait caster that's in the very back next to that power plug. How hard is it for you to reach that?
It can get a little rough sometimes. If you're sitting down, all I do is I'll just get up on my knees on the seat and reach that very back last two. The Hobie
Yeah.
Pro Angler is so stable. I stand up and fish probably 50 to 60% of the time anyway. So
Really?
yeah, it's very stable.
That's pretty stable.
Yeah,
How wide
Yeah.
is
How wide is that?
it is 38 inches wide. But the thing is, it's so tall, and it's kind of, if you look underneath the bottom of it, it's kind of like a catamaran style. And
okay.
so you'll get a lot of. So in the kayaking language, we use secondary stability. So you get on one side of the kayak, and you'll start to tip a little bit, and then it'll hit like a wall, and then you'll just feel it stop. And I stand up, and you can tell I'm not a small guy. I weigh about 230, and I can stand up and fish. And actually, I even stand up. I got on several videos of myself. I like to stand up, and if I'm flipping down a bank, I'll actually stand on one leg, and I'll actually put my other leg up on the foot pedal, and I'll actually kick the drive going down a bank, flipping. So it's
I mean, that's just straight up talent.
was it a lot of people think a kayak like this is unstable. What I tell people, you don't flip a kayak like this, you fall out of it. That's how people get in the water, is you fall out.
Yeah.
Now, how hard is it if you do fall out? How hard is it to get back up onto the kayak?
Well, so if you do it's called, I can't remember the exact technique, but you put one hand on the Hobie. There's called A trails, and you can put one hand on the A trail, then you lift your other hand up on the other side, and you just kind of like pull yourself up. Now, the easiest part is just to go to the bank and do it. But if you're out deep and you can't go to the bank easily, that's the only way you can do it. You got to watch flipping the whole kayak, because the worst case scenario, if you know you're going to flip, you really just want to jump out.
Yeah.
That way you save all your rods, because your rods are standing straight up. If you flip, and if you're in less than, all my rods are about 7 foot to 8 foot long. If you're in less than 7 foot, you're going to break those rods. And so, knock on wood.
I don't know if I'd be worried about breaking them. I'd be worried about them falling off and I lose.
Yeah. So,
I guarantee you, if I would lose all 12 of them.
So knock on wood, I have never come close to flipping. The closest I have come to flipping would have been at Lake Fork. I don't know if I don't know if y'all been out there, but you'll be going in 15 foot of water and you'll hit stumps where all those all the tree fields are. And it gets a little scary because you'll be going through there at 4.5, 5 miles per hour, and you can't see them. They're just barely underneath the water. And all of a sudden you hit one, and it just scares you because that water is a little muddy, and you can't see them. Or the water is just clear enough to where you see them right before you hit. And you just have enough time to clinch up. Another thing that scared me out there was the wind was blowing so much that the waves.
Man, it was brutal.
Yeah, the waves were bad. And what happens in a kayak is you get up on one of those troughs on one of those waves, and you come down on a stump and you're done. I had that happen once too. I actually got stuck on a stump for 20 minutes pre-fishing. I got high centered right in the middle of the kayak, and all I did was just keep.
It's like a top.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. I did not realize until I went back and edited my video for the tournament, and my face. I was pretty tan then, and my face went to white when that happened.
I
It
was
was scary.
flirting with a gator. That's what I would say. That was a gator.
Yeah, no. But for the most part, you don't ever fall out of those. You'll fall out, not flip
Yeah.
a kayak like that.
Yeah. Now, how was your experience with going to the Bassmaster Classic and fishing the kayak series on Lake Fork?
Oh god, it was a dream come true. Sadly, I didn't make it into the top 10. Top 10 actually got to walk across the classic stage
Yeah.
at the expo. I came in, and this is what's crazy. This just tells you how well Lake Fork fishes. I caught 90 inches, somewhere probably between an 18 to 20 pound bag, and I finished 39th
Oh,
out of
wow.
200, out of, I can't remember how many people. It was like 200 people. Or no, it was
Yeah.
157. That's how many people was in it.
But
And
still, that's
was it the top 15 or 16 had over 100 inches. So they had close to 30-pound bags.
yeah. I know. I was in the media room and uh, Gene Jensen, or everybody may know him as Fluke Master.
Yeah.
He come in and I was sitting down eating. He come up behind me, give me a big old bear hug, and I asked him how was it going, and he caught a fish in the last seconds of, or it was like the last minute, and by the time he took the picture and got it to send, he was like 15 seconds too late.
Mm.
And that fish cost him, I think he said it cost him $6,700 is what that fish cost him
Yeah.
from where he would have, it went from fourth or fifth to second place. It would have put him in second place.
Yeah. So if people watching you don't understand that, like submitting, we use a Tourney X system. It's all on your phone. It's an online app. You go and you take a picture. The fish have to be going from right to left. The mouth got to be closed. You take a picture and then you go and submit it on that app, and it's all done through the app. So when people like Gene talks about he was 15 seconds late, a lot of times lines out. We have a launch time, a lines in time, and then a lines out, and then a photo submission timeline. So it's usually like 30 minutes to an hour after lines out, and that just
Yeah.
gives you time to make it back to the ramp.
Yeah, because sometimes you may not have service, right?
Yeah. So that's probably what happened to him. He probably didn't have any service. He made it to the round, and then he left to submit. Which he has. What's that? Elon Musk.
Starlink.
Starlink. He has Starlink on his kayak. Probably the only
Yeah.
person to ever have that. So I don't know what happened with him.
Yeah. He just said, but in talking to him, every fish that he caught was on an 8-inch glide bait.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of anybody doing this. He weighted the hook instead of waiting how people would weight the belly of the glide baits. He was weighting the hooks to where the hooks would stay down, and that's what was keeping it to where. Because he said I was throwing the glide bait up over these stumps, right,
Yeah.
and that weight of that hooks will just keep it to where it would just hover right up over it, and instead of some of them will kind of lean over a little bit. He said that weighted hook will keep it straight, and it was just sitting like it was just sitting on top of these stumps. And as soon as I kind of pulled, he said, as soon as I pulled it off of them, whoa! And he says that's how he caught every single one. It's all on that 8-inch glide bait.
Wow.
Hmm.
I caught most of mine on a wacky worm and a chatterbait. That's how I
Yeah.
caught on mine. I caught a 20 and a half or a 20 incher with 2 minutes to spare, flipping in over. You got to go and watch that video. It's the tournament video. I threw over a bunch of lilies and a lot of cattails. And I even said in the video when I made that cast, I said, I have no idea how I'm going to get one over this. And one hit it. I set the hook. That drag was screaming for its life.
Oh, I bet.
I pulled it over all that stuff. And I have to give it to Seaguar. I was using 12-pound Invisex. And then I was using the owner titanium reedless hooks, the wacky rig hooks, number 2.
Yeah.
I got to give it to them. That hook was so sharp. That line was strong enough to pull a 20-incher over that. And I wasn't babying either because I knew I was with 2 minutes to spare and getting them
You
in.
had to get it in.
Yeah, I was getting them in, and that was on a spinning rod too, and it was jam packed. But
Yeah. Now, I know, like on the boater side of the classic, like Bass has like that whole the week right before the classic is jam packed of they have them on an itinerary.
yeah,
Is the kayak is it the same way?
no, not really. We haven't got to that point yet. Um, most most of the people that qualified for that event qualified through a state level. You had to finish in like the top 10% of your Tennessee Bass Nation series or your
Right.
Bass Nation series. So we're not as famous as the boat guys, like going to meet and greets. We did have official practice period like that Friday. So our tournament was Wednesday and well, it was supposed to be Wednesday and Thursday, and that would lined up with the classic where they fished Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
Well, our official practice period started that Friday before. It was 1 week, and so you have an official practice period, and you got to be off the water at 6 o'clock on that on Tuesday, and then at I can't remember what time you had to go to check in, and at the check in they check your board to make sure it's nothing altered to it, so you don't cheat.
Right.
They give you your ID, your identifier. So this little, I actually think I might have one with me. You got to have. So, oh yeah, I do. So this was day 2. So you got Bassmaster Kayak Series day 2. Day 1 looks a lot prettier. It's got a lot of like a whole design on it, but you got to have that in your picture, and then that way you can't catch a fish the day before and submit
Right.
it that day. It just makes it where you can't cheat. So you got to go to check in. They gave us these nice little plaques that had it was a wooden plaque with the cutout of Lake Fork on it, and then the event name.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that was cool. But you go there. Some people got interviewed. Sadly, day 1 of the tournament was canceled because of the wind. We had 40-mile-per-hour gust out
Oh
there.
yeah.
It was like 3 to 4 foot rollers, waves.
Yeah.
So we didn't go out Wednesday. So it was a 1-day mega bag shootout, and we up fishing for 11 hours on Thursday. Lines in was like 7:30, 7 o'clock, and lines out was 6:30. So it was a long day. And y'all asked about the batteries. My batteries lasted all 11 hours, and it was a long
That's
day. But
crazy.
yeah, it was a long day, but the fishing was amazing. I would have stayed out there after lines out if I could, with how
Yeah.
fun it was.
Yeah. Now, how who won it this year? Was it Gregory win it? Did he win it again?
No, it was James or Wyatt Hamill, or if anybody's watching and knows, it's something either Wyatt or Hamill, which I'd probably look it up. Um, he absolutely kicked everybody's butt. He had 111 and a quarter inches. It's just crazy. His smallest fish was like 21 and a half or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, do you fish a lot? Do you do a lot of ledge fishing?
I will. In the summertime, I'll get out there. You do have to watch a little bit for all the
Mm-hmm.
pleasure boating, definitely on Chickamauga and Gunnersville.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'll get right out there. I'm not scared to go off, um, real offshore. I've been in the ocean with my kayak, so it's not a fear factor for myself. I know the kayak can
Right.
handle it. But I will if the time is right. I'll go offshore. I'm more of a shallow water grass fisherman. I love doing that. But sometimes that bite you got to go offshore to get the big ones.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
will.
Have you seen the video? I forgot who it was, but the guy took his kayak out in the ocean and caught a marlin in on his kayak,
Yeah,
and it took him over 5 hours to get that fish in
On a
yeah,
kayak?
on a kayak. He
yeah.
had boats was chasing him.
And I think it drug them 10 miles offshore, didn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it was Wyatt Hamill. Oh, maybe you
Uh, there it goes. Yeah.
can. No. And his smallest fish. His smallest fish was 21 and three quarter. Then he had a 22, a 22 and a quarter, a 22 and a half, and a 22 and three quarters.
Good grief.
Yeah, absolute giant. So he won. I think it was 25,000. You make a lot of money in kayak tournaments if you can constantly cash checks.
Yeah. Now, where's your next tournament at?
My next tournament will either be, I think it's Old Hickory, and then I think it's Nickajack. No, I'm sorry, Pickwick. Pickwick. That's
You got me
Tennessee.
excited about Nickajack.
Yeah. The following 2 weeks after after Pickwick is Nickajack with the Tennessee Bass
Heck
Nation.
yeah.
You know. So there's
Now, where were you put in? Were you put in at Marion County
we can put
on
in
Nickajack?
the cool thing about kayak tournaments, we can put in any public access area.
Okay.
We can be any ramp. I have put in at Marion County off of
Yeah.
I-24 out there.
Mhm.
My closest ever run in when not getting back to the boat ramp was at that ramp. I got about, if you go out and go underneath I-24, there's a bluff wall way
Yeah.
out. I was going to that bluff wall, and the problem with Nickajack is Mont Eagle Mountain's right to your right, and you can't see a storm blow in. And I didn't have any service, and I was going through there, and I was about 2 miles from the boat ramp, and I heard a thunder, and I look over, and when I looked, I seen the white clouds turn to black, and that storm rolled right over Mont Eagle Mountain. And thankfully I got to I-24 bridge. I actually ended up getting up on the bank. I got tied my kayak to a tree or some brush, and got up underneath some brush. It was hailing, lightning everywhere, hailing. It scared me.
Man.
Yeah.
I know because with fishing Nickajack, and it's interesting to watch the weather move in because it's once it kind of gets over Mont Eagle and it
Yeah.
just runs right through the valley.
Well,
It just
yeah.
runs right over Nickajack.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
you got that river system. It just It's literally right there in the valley. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, get some crazy storms and stuff.
You got that lower pressure in that valley, and
Yeah.
it sucks it through it.
Yeah. I know I was out on Nickajack one day, and the line we would cast,
No,
and the line would actually float up. It was not. And the guy that I was with, he says, "There's a lot of electricity in this air," and so he's like, "Just make sure you keep your rod tip down."
yeah.
We don't need. I said, "Let's turn the units off first."
See, that's the
So,
problem with kayak fishing. We have 12 lightning rods, or I have 12 lightning rods sticking straight up.
yeah.
And I've always been
Did
kind
you
of
see? Did you see where Jake Lawrence on
Yes.
the very last day
Oh yeah.
had that lightning? It might not have been the last day. I think it was his last day on Chick, where he had that lightning strike. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen it on the GoPro from.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's too close to comfort. He said he felt it on the top of his head.
I bet.
I was like, ugh.
So that's the worst thing about a kayak is if that happens, if that comes over and rolls on top of you, you can only go about 4.5, 5 miles per hour. And so that you can you
Get the
might
paddle out and start helping.
you might can see that boat ramp out in the distance, but when it's coming down, it looks like it's getting further and further away.
What is a bucket list lake for you to go and fish?
Oh well, it was Lake Fork, so I've already been there. Um, Probably my new bucket list, probably Lake St. Clair up there in the north.
Yep.
Go after some big smallmouth. I love fishing for smallmouth, and I know up that lake it's pretty easy from what I've been watching to catch some good ones. You just kind of have to
Well, they
drift
make
in.
it look easy.
Yeah, yeah. Probably Lake St. Clair, either that or Lake Okeechobee, which I've heard
Yeah.
some things that it's not as good as it used to be.
No, it's not. They just like what you were saying earlier about TVA coming and spraying
You know,
that. What is it? Florida Wildlife. They've gone and sprayed.
you know,
And what's crazy is, which I got a bunch of buddies down in Florida. This is how crazy it's gotten. They will go and plant grass or whatever, some kind of weeds or whatever, to have a grass line, so that next year they can come and spray it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so, but
that just
yeah,
sounds like government. That's just government spending in its finest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you have a budget and you want to keep that budget, you got to use it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
they're definitely using it. And so,
yeah,
and which TWRA is doing the same thing. Which
yeah.
on Chick, I don't know if anywhere else, but I know on Chick they actually contracted it out this past year, and they were just dumping.
Yeah.
I mean, they were coming out, and like I've seen them in fan boats, I've seen them in pontoons. Just I guarantee you, it's every bit of 500 gallons of stuff that they were taking out there and just spraying it everywhere, just pouring the stuff out.
I don't want to. It's a big controversy, I know, but Dayton, that fish Dayton, their whole community is based off of fishing, and I don't understand why TWRA thinks it's a good idea to go in there and spray all of it for the pleasure boating. When I know there's a ton of pleasure boating, but there's other lakes that they could go to. Like all they're doing is going to hurt their economy when the fishing dries up.
So I seen this year, I had the hardest time finding bait
Yeah,
this past winter.
yeah,
And
I did
so,
too.
and I don't know. I mean, because we really didn't have that bad of a. I mean, we had a good winter to kill all the bugs and stuff,
Yeah,
but it really wasn't that cold enough that I thought that it should have changed too terribly much. And the only thing I could think of was because of the spray.
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your game plan on Old Hickory?
I don't know. Old Hickory kicks my butt every time. That's one lake. It look if you ever been on Old Hickory, it looks amazing. Like everything. Oh, there's got to be a fish. They got to be a fish. And you go over there and flip, fish whatever you want, and you'll either catch one little 12 incher or you won't catch anything. It's just it mind boggles me that it looks so good and it fishes so terrible. Old Hickory, I think it has that. What it really needs is more people to go in and keep bass. I think it has so many small bass that the bigger
Yeah.
ones get choked out. But most of the time, my game plans on Old Hickory is to go and flip boat docks with jigs, fish a shad wrap in the wintertime if I have to. And I've caught some good
Yeah.
fish off of crankbaits.
Well, I know you probably can't get any advice, which that was my home lake when I lived in Nashville. I lived right down the road from Cedar Creek.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
that's actually
so,
where I go fishing at all the time. Lone Branch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, but I will say there's a color that's on our screen right now that you need to be throwing on the Old Hickory. I
Yeah.
can't tell you what color, but it was on our screen.
I would
Uh,
suspect it's called it has something bug.
do what?
It's called something bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, no, anything that, let's see. Can you grab that Rage Tail pack? I don't show too many people this, Ethan. And there ain't no telling how many people is watching this right now. But I've got tackle trays just full of this color. Come on, open up. This color right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you get advice?
Yeah, yeah. KBFTN, you can talk as much as you want. It's the
Oh, then
bigger
heck
term.
yeah.
It's like Bassmaster. And you can't talk about.
Take if you're going the secret on Old Hickory, something purple.
Okay. I
But
always shoot
I
the
can take
June bug.
this. Take this as smoke purple.
Yeah.
So take this and then dip those claws in chartreuse.
Yep.
You'll go. Because I tell people, I'm like, man, Old Hickory sucks, and I'm like, man, it's a good lake. I can go out there and just smash 25, 30 fish and just go on home. And they're like, there ain't no way. I went and I went out there to prove a point, and I had a buddy of mine that fished Old Hickory all the time with me, and I filmed it, and I went out there, I caught 35, and I said, you ready to go home? He says, I don't know how in the world you're doing it, what you're doing. He says, but I'm right here with you. And all it was, I mean, literally something purple.
Yeah.
So
See, I don't have
that
any.
is,
I don't ever have any trouble catching fish. I just can't catch the size that I need. That's my
yeah.
trouble.
Well, that's I mean, I guess probably. I usually will average about 2 to 3 pounders is what I
Hmm,
would average.
that's
I'd
pretty
say
decent.
average on Old Hickory.
Yeah.
So
So the next Old Hickory tournament I have, it's a Tuesday nighter. We can launch on the upper end of so on the KBF 10, which is right here, wrong side.
yeah,
That's the logo. Um, they actually have Tuesday. We'll have an 8-hour tournament on Saturdays, and sometimes we'll have like a 2-day event. And then most of the tournaments are a Tuesday night, and it's like 4-hour tournaments. So we'll start at 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and we'll have on the 8-hour tournaments you can launch lake wide, and then on the 4-hour tournaments, the Tuesday nighters, we'll have um, certain boat ramps you can choose from,
yeah,
and so it kind of makes it's kind of fun because you get to try different areas. You don't just go to your honey hole, so you can kind of
yeah,
try different areas of the lake. So it makes it a little fair, more fair than just going to your honey hole, and which I don't really
yeah.
have a honey hole on Old Hickory, but
Well, usually summertime, everybody goes into oh crap. I can see the cove.
what part of the lake is it? Mid lake?
It's on towards the south end, the big cove. Um, like if you're heading south, it's on the right hand side. Drake's Creek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Everybody wants to go in there, and I stay out of it.
yeah,
You could actually go, like if you put in at Cedar Creek,
yeah,
and you can go, especially in the summertime, just go straight across. There's all them docks and stuff. As soon as
yeah,
you go across, start from that point and just fish all down them docks,
yeah.
and then you're going to come up to the road, and it looks like it's done. But I've taken my boat back up in there, and there's nobody gets back up in there, and you can
Nah.
smash some fish back up underneath that.
Well,
So
the last time I was there, I just fished a tournament there about a month ago, and there was 3 different boats that went back in there.
really, back in that up underneath the
Yep, yep. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, I've never seen boats go in there, but apparently it's
mm-hmm.
and I don't know if they were catching it because I'd seen, and they'd run all the way to the back,
Yeah,
and they'd go underneath it. They'd fish for like 10, 15 minutes, and they'd come back out. So I guess they weren't in there yet. But I've
yeah,
never seen that many people go back in there.
yeah. That's crazy. I haven't ever seen anybody go back there. I mean, and I lived on it, and
Yeah,
that's what that or would go by Shoots Branch.
yeah,
Go back in on Shoots Branch. Uh, I've caught a bunch of there as well, but man, it's already what almost what 11 or 7:20,
Yep.
and this fat boy's getting hungry.
yeah.
We had to work all night. Somebody got to take a little nap on the way back, but
Oh man.
so but Ethan, we do have. I want you. Can you real quick tell us your if somebody wants to follow you, where they can see you on social media?
Yeah. So I have Facebook, and it's Ethan Jett. And then my Instagram page is Ethan_Jett_fishing. I also have a TikTok, which is Jett's Fishing Adventures. And then my YouTube channel, which, by the way, just hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
We hit it 2 weeks ago. And I'm doing a giveaway for with a bunch of my sponsors, Torn Outdoors. Have you ever heard of the dehooker tool?
yep,
I got one of them. They're not a sponsor, but they gave me one while I was competing in that Yak Off Awards.
Oh, nice.
I got a bunch of stuff coming from Backdraft Lures. He makes some really good buzz baits. That's what I use. He's bringing me several buzz baits to give away. And I got a bunch of other stuff from my sponsors. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to Jett's Fishing Adventures. And I just released a video today about my rod and reel arsenal.
I've seen that.
Friday, I'll probably release a video doing like a Q&A. I'm going to try to do a live stream to do the giveaway, have like an hour long kind of celebration. So be on the lookout for that.
Heck yeah. And guys, go check him out. I mean, because he always has something that he's posting up. If it's talking about his kayak, what he's got, and he's got some walkthroughs where he walks through what's on his kayak. He's got a bunch of fishing in there, so if you want to see old Ethan smash some fish, I mean, they're on there, and it's great. I enjoy watching your content, Ethan. I'm glad and super stoked that you finally got to that 1,000 mark. Now we just need to, what is it? 3,000 watch time hours is what we need to get you.
I need 4,000 now. 4,000. Yeah, they raised it up from 3,000. I wish they didn't because I already got like 2,900. Of course, right before I get 1,000, they raise it up.
Yeah. But, well, it used to be 1,000 subscribers, and then what was it? 100,000 watch time hours.
Oh wow!
And so I was like, man, what happened to them days?
Yeah. Was it So I've actually started. I've kind of fallen off of it a little bit, and that's on me because of turkey season. It's hard to edit videos while out turkey hunting, but so I've been starting to try to upload 2 videos a week to get those watch hours kind of rolling up. So I'll this week will be 2 videos a week, and I got some content kind of backlogged. I don't know if anybody's familiar with trying to grow a YouTube channel. It's hard.
It is. It is.
And the amount of content that you need, like I'm very picky. Like I've done videos and I've deleted them because I didn't like them. Like I've done a walkthrough of my kayak. I did it 3 times before I got it to exactly like I wanted it. And I'm still not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm Southern, so you can tell from my voice. If you don't understand me, you don't understand me. But it's a passion of mine. I love doing all the content creation, but it takes a bunch of work just to get 500 subs.
Yeah.
I always feel bad for people like on my YouTube, on my Facebook, for me pushing out content. Is like I'm just trying to get it. That's what you got to do. So,
yeah, and you got to stay consistent. Consistency. Yeah. Everybody that I've talked to about when they've asked me about growing, I mean, because here the past year and a half, I mean, my YouTube channel has gone from, I think it's like 700 to I think I've got 50, almost 5,600 people now.
Wow.
And all it takes is just one good video to get that ball rolling. Yeah. And I tell you, the video for me, I was like, I got to put a video out. It was not my favorite video at all. The videos that I thought was going to do great and I'm going to get views on, I hardly got any. I was like, I was mad because I worked so hard and I was like, man, this is perfect. Nah.
Yeah. So. Exactly. I feel the same way. I did a 3 bait video. That's how I've gained a lot of followers, is my top 3 baits per month. And it's a great informative video. And it's been a great performing series for myself. But I did one for October, and I started off the video with if bass fishing was invented 65 million years ago, and I was in this dinosaur costume. I worked for like a long time on this video, and I put it on TikTok like this little short. It got like 150 views, and then the next video I uploaded, I was on the tractor planting food plots, and it was literally me driving the tractor with a disc behind me with the Green Acres theme song, and it got
Yeah.
5,000. It got 5,000 views within like the first 2 days. I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. Yeah.
We know the pain.
You know?
We know the pain. Well, before Pappy asked or you the last question, um, let us know when you're going to be here on Nickajack or when it comes closer, and hopefully it's on a time that we're going to be off, and we'll hop in my boat and we'll do some filming and get
Yeah,
some drone footage and stuff for you. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
kind of get you something else. So,
Yeah.
but Pappy,
Ethan, if you had one person, past, present, uh, today, to fish with, who would that one person be?
Whew, you're gonna make me get a little teary eyed. It'd have to be my grandpa. My pop. He passed away when I was 5, and me and him was just tight. Like we got a video of or a picture of me walking behind him, going to his woodworking shop. It was him, me behind him, and then the dog Jack right behind me. And I'd give anything right now to be able to fish with him one time. I actually I keep this keychain with me everywhere I go, and that was his. And so I always keep it with me, keep it close, and that would
There
be
you
who I
go.
go with.
that is awesome. So, guys, thanks for watching, and I want to say thanks, Ethan, man, for coming on here, and it's been something that I've been looking forward to. We've been trying to get this schedule for 3 years, guys,
You
and
know,
we finally got it. And we were wanting to do something at the classic because it was a special moment for Ethan to be at the classic and fishing in it. And so, but we just wasn't. The schedule wasn't allowing us to. And then they fished that 11-hour tournament, and so we just could not get it done. But man, we finally got Ethan on here, and guys, this won't be the last time he's on here. We're going to make sure we're going to keep him in as somebody coming on because again, I really enjoy talking to you, Ethan, and
Absolutely.
and picking your brains. And but guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you later. Go check out Ethan's
you
social media. Follow him on everything because I mean he's always posting something. It's always something interesting, and I'm sure you're going to get something out of it. And let him know that you started following him, that you've seen him on Deck Talk, and he'd appreciate it. And so, guys, we're going to get out of here. Fat Boy's hungry, and see you out on the water. And have a blessed day, guys.
Have a good one.
see.